Hello everyone, this is Mr. Jackson, and today we're going to be covering our last concept as a part of Unit 2, where we're going into Concept 3 over all things muscular system. Let's get right into it. Okay, now the main function of the muscular system is movement. Okay, so we need the muscular system in order to move around in space. Okay, so muscles contract in order to produce this movement, and contraction means that they are going to shorten in length. Okay, now whenever they shorten in length, they are going to pull on their points of attachment. Okay, so they pull, they never push when they contract. There are two attachments. Sometimes it can be more, where they have more than one insertion or more than one origin. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to imagine that each muscle has an insertion, where the muscle is going to be attaching to the more movable bone, okay, the bone that's actually going to be moving itself. And then it has an origin where the muscle is attached to the immovable bone. Okay, so muscles basically pull from their origin to their insertion, and then that insertion point is what pulls bones relative to each other. Okay, so whatever one muscle can do, another can undo it. All right, so that means that there are always muscles in your body. So if you have muscles that are good at flexing a joint, there's also going to be muscles appropriate to extending that same joint. Some other functions of the muscular system are going to be maintaining your posture, providing stability to your joints, and being able to generate body heat. For example, like whenever you shiver whenever you are cold. That's little jerky muscular movement that actually helps your body generate some heat. Okay, and it's also important to note here at the bottom that ATP, your body's energy currency, is going to be needed in order for muscles to contract, and comes from the process that we define as cellular respiration. And it's an overall exothermic, meaning it gives off heat. Okay, overall exothermic. So therefore, muscle contractions give off heat, and this helps to maintain homeostasis and regulate constant body temperature if your body temperature is dropping. Okay, so again, this goes back to shivering. All right, so some classifications of muscles. Muscles can be functionally classified into three big groups. Okay, you have your prime movers or agonists. Okay, now these prime movers are the ones that are most responsible for providing a certain movement. An example here, like in the image, is your biceps brachii. And that is the primary muscle, the one that bulges when you curl your arm. That's going to be the primary mover in a bicep curl. So anytime your forearm flexes, so your forearm comes closer to your upper arm, that is going to be primarily because of the action of your biceps brachii. Now you have agonists, which means that on the other side of those joints, you'll also have antagonists. Okay, now these are the muscles that directly oppose or reverse a movement by the agonists. Okay, so they're either in opposition to it or they can undo it. Okay, so this is usually stretched or relaxed whenever a primary mover is active. So if the biceps brachii is actively bringing the forearm up towards the upper arm, that would mean that this triceps brachii is relaxed and stretching. It can regulate prime movers by adding some extra resistance, and it's going to be located on the opposite side of a joint from the prime mover, and you can see that here. So on the front side of this joint, you have your biceps brachii. Opposite side, you've got your triceps. And so in a bicep curl, that movement example, really easily relatable, the triceps brachii would serve as that antagonist. It's opposing forearm or elbow flexion. I also do want to really quickly, at the bottom here in this note, it says, now remember, for forearm extension, when the bicep curl is basically releasing and we're returning down and the elbow is extending, this would then make the triceps muscle the prime mover and the biceps muscle becomes the antagonist, right? So slowing that movement or resisting that downward movement from elbow flexion. And finally, we have this major group called Synergists. Okay, when you see Synergists, this comes from synergy. This is muscles that basically are here to help out your prime movers. So they can act as stabilizing across a joint or adding a little bit of extra oomph, which is like power, a little bit of extra stability and to aid in certain movements. They act as fixators. So synergist muscles that specifically immobilize a muscle's origin to increase the primary mover's effectiveness at the insertion. Okay, so that's what a fixator was. It basically would fixate your origin in place so that your insertion points can do all of the work. Okay, so they also help to maintain upright posture as well. So we had our prime movers, our antagonists our antagonists or your synergists as those top 3 classifications of muscles. And that is actually going to bring us to our very first activity with Muscular System. We're going to be looking into discovery stations. You're going to have your big body diagrams that you're going to be labeling and color coding so that we can have an idea of what are all those primary movers and those antagonist muscles that are of note for our unit. And then, we'll be picking up with part 2 after our discovery stations, and we'll see you at that one.